viewers, and welcome to October's edition of the Balanced Breed. From Verses of Gold, we say Happy New Month and Happy Anniversary. I know our nation is not what we may have prayed or hoped for, but God is not done with us yet. There is a brighter future ahead of us, so let us renew our hope and keep faith alive. Nigeria will be great again. Thank you for joining us. My name is Faith Ezepe. Today's discussion is centered on marriage, and the topic is, am I really married? When it comes to marriage, it's a serious business, and every step, process, procedure, and requirement must be taken seriously. Many are currently having issues or have had issues years after marriage simply because a process was not duly followed or duly completed or was omitted or ignored. And today they are facing the consequences. They are suffering as a result of ignorance, negligence, or carelessness. So stay with us as we shed some light on the subject matter. When we are done, you will know how legit or valid your marriage is. To discuss this topic today is a barrister, but I would like him to introduce himself. Sir, please, may we know you better.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers. My name is Emmanuel Zachariah. I'm a legal practitioner practicing here in Mina, Abuja, and Kaduna. Those are my angles usually. I emphasize criminal law and corporate law. Criminal law in the sense that we handle issues that relate to crime and criminality in the society.
Okay.
Trying to defend those that are accused of offenses that is not true. And also corporate work, we deal with companies, we manage companies. So that is who I am, that's what I do.
All right, thank you. You're welcome on board, Barrister Emmanuel. We hope to drink from your well of experience.
Thank you.
Sir, if I'm to ask to define what marriage is, I will definitely give a layman definition of what marriage is. That is, marriage is coming together of a man and a woman to form a family. If you always also ask me to name the forms of marriages we have, I will simply tell you traditional marriage, religious marriage, and the civil marriage. But this evening we want to hear from a learned man. I prefer to refer him as a learned man. You know, once you are sitting with a learned man, you have to be very careful so that whatever you are saying will not be used against you in the court of law. So, sir, we want to know from a legal perspective what marriage is. What constitutes a legal marriage?
All right. Well, actually, the reality of it is not far away from what you have said already. Marriage could be traditional, and the law recognizes it.
Okay.
It could be religious, and the law recognizes it.
Okay.
It could be marriage under the act, or what you refer to as civil marriage. But if we are to attempt definition of marriage, in fact, the most revered professor of family law, Professor Mogogu, is of the opinion that just like any legal issue, marriage lacks definite definition.
Okay.
However, we can attempt it as the coming together of man and woman. And now the question will be, who is a man and who is a woman?
Okay.
Because you understand that the world is growing into some level of conflict in itself. I will put it that way.
Exactly.
Though I know some clients will disagree with me. Talking about people, we have the hermaphrodites. We also have transgender.
Yes.
We also have the gay. All these issues are becoming cloudy in the normal world.
Okay.
But for our purpose as Christians, we are referring to the union between man and woman, between female and male.
All right.
Simple put, for the purpose of living together in tranquility until death do them apart. That is how we view marriage for our purpose.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Barrister Emmanuel. So what are the legally recognized marriage options in Nigeria?
Okay, yes. In Nigeria, the law recognizes traditional marriage. The law recognizes church blessings.
All right.
I will call it church blessing because basically, both from cultural perspective and legal perspective, the church cannot marry people. The
Really?
church can only bless people. However, license can be given to a church to join weddings.
Okay, license.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, under the Marriage Act, the minister has the power to issue license to registered place of worship.
Registered place of worship.
For the purpose of conducting marriage.
Okay.
For the local is celebrating marriage.
Yeah.
Now, that is one. So these are the three forms of marriages that the law recognizes. However, each of them carry its implication.
Okay.
Each of them carry its advantage and disadvantage.
Okay.
Taking for an instance, if I may take traditional marriage,
All right.
you will find out that when we say people marry under the tradition, that means they are bound by the tradition.
Yes.
And each tradition has its rules and regulations.
Yeah.
Now, the implication is you are bound by those rules and regulations. And some of these rules and regulations are not pleasant.
Okay.
They are not in tune with modern life.
Okay.
They are not exactly acceptable, particularly to modern people living in modern society.
Okay.
Taking for an instance, there are cultures, even within Nigeria, that has the practice that when a man dies, his younger brother can take his wife,
right?
even if she wants it or does not want it.
It's the
Now you
tradition.
see where it becomes a problem. So you will find out that marrying under tradition carries this negative implication in that you may be bound by some of these rules.
Okay.
And so on and so forth. There are so many of them. Some of them are truly nasty,
Yeah.
but there is a remedy. And I believe at the appropriate time, I will explain the remedy.
Okay. So what are the legal requirements for marriage ceremonies?
Okay. I will talk about marriage under the Act because that is about the most formal means of getting married.
Okay.
The first requirement is the age of the parties. Section 70 of the Marriage Act stipulates that the person must be of marriageable age.
Okay.
Now, this is amorphous to the extent that what is marriageable age? You find out that it differs from community to community. We know it's a common practice among Fulani. I come from Adamawa, so I'm more conversant with the Fulani. At the age of 6, they can betroth a girl to a man. Of course, usually she will not be taken as a wife until she is 10, 12.
Yeah.
Now, you know it will be very difficult for a Yoruba man to release his 10-year-old daughter to be a wife. But the Fulani man will happily do that. So you find out that it varies per community. So age is an issue. However, this matter, there is development in it. Because by Section 13 of the Niger State Child Rights Act law, which is in paramateria with Section 21 of the Child Rights Act of Nigeria,
Yes.
it has put the marriageable age at 18 years.
At 18 years.
So a girl of 18 can marry.
Okay.
Another beauty of it is as we are coming to see when it comes to consent, it said that only a girl of 21 years and above can consent to marry. However, where she is younger than 21, she will need parental consent.
Okay.
That means we can subsume now that in Nigeria and in some states, because it's not all states that adopted the Child Rights Act, you will find out that we can safely conclude that in about 27 states that accepted the Child Rights Law, the age of marriage is 18.
18.
Thank you.
All right.
Now you come down to, after you settle the issue of age, then you come down to the issue of the status of the parties. Under the Act, parties must not be married
to another
person at the time of celebration of marriage. And this is good because it ensures sanity and orderliness.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't matter whether the other marriage you have is under customary law
or tradition,
or whatever.
Okay.
As long as you are married to another person, you are not allowed to marry another person under the Act.
Okay.
Now, the further implication of this is that it's even a crime to do that. Section 370 of the Criminal Code punishes it with 7 years imprisonment.
Okay, that is...
and it's usually men that are in this situation.
Okay.
Ladies hardly do that, but I have seen cases of ladies not ending one marriage, jumping to another marriage. But rare, really. They are rare. It's men
so
that are...
the men are the culprits.
Thank you. So you find out that the issue of the marriage status of each party matters.
Yeah.
The person must be single at the time of celebration.
Okay.
And also the question of consent, we have said it.
Yes.
Consent of the party to marriage is needed. It's basic. But the consent of parents is necessary only if the woman is below the age of 21. Something I must raise as an observation is that it didn't consider men as if a man of 10 years can marry. But I'm sure the draftsman of the law was trying to follow the nature of things in the society. Knowing that usually older men marry younger ladies.
Okay.
So usually it's the ladies that are at the receiving end of when there is improper procedure. So that, and also the issue of degree of consanguinity. Now, when we talk of degree of consanguinity, we are talking of, is there any biological relationship between you and that person? Things like you cannot marry a sister, things like you cannot marry your father's wife, issues like that. Okay. Where there's relationship, degree of consanguinity, you are disallowed, so there shouldn't be any degree of consanguinity between you and the person you intend to marry. So these are, and then sanity. A party to marriage must be sane. Yes, the issue of sanity is difficult in law. You can see somebody walking the street enjoying himself, but the law will consider him insane.
Yes.
So the person must be sane, must have his or her senses intact at the time of
the marriage.
So these are the basic requirements.
All right. Okay, thank you, Barrister Emmanuel. But I didn't hear you mention premarital or physical examination and blood tests. Are they not mandatory for part of marriage requirements?
They are not legally mandatory.
Really?
The law didn't impose that condition. However, in practice, they encourage certain things. For an example, you must publish your name and your picture for a minimum of 21 days within the district where the marriage will take place. So I remember my personal experience. I got married to a lady from Kaduna, and I wanted to marry, and I had to go and publish my picture in the marriage registry in Kaduna, and they published it for 21 days. And it was after the expiration of the 21 days that they gave us a date to come and solemnize our wedding.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. But
yes.
The status, some people might have some health issues and
yes.
they will hide their status, like those who are HIV positive and
yes.
the rest of them. And they can hide their status and go ahead to marry their partner, maybe seeing that form of marriage as a way of escape. They will not really mention it to their partners. And they will go ahead, and by the end of the day, you find out that the woman or the man is infected.
Yes, we have had cases like that, and it's actually terrible. Unfortunately,
The law does not-
The Marriage Act is archaic. Actually, personally, I have been advocating for amendment because the Marriage Act is about 1970 law or thereabout. It's an old law. Even in England, where we borrowed the law from, the law has been changed at the moment. It is no more applicable. It has been amended and amended and amended and amended. So really, there's a need for issues like that to be recognized.
Yes.
Yes. However, thank God for the church. The church comes in to ameliorate that. Usually,
Okay.
the church requests
Yes.
that.
Yes,
Yes.
because it's, when you talk about the church wedding, it's one of the requirements. You
Yes,
must
basically
present your
everywhere.
physical examination, tests, blood tests, and the rest of them to
Definitely.
make sure you meet the mandatory requirements before
Yes.
such marriages will be conducted.
Yes.
You made mention of licensed place of worship, that is the venue where marriages takes place or took place.
Yes.
That it must be a registered or a licensed place of worship. Is it a registered place of worship or a licensed
Okay.
place of worship?
Now, these are two things. Registered place of worship means normal registration with the CAC
Yeah.
legal status. But licensed place of worship is talking about when a place is issued license to conduct, to celebrate marriage.
To celebrate marriage.
Yes, when the minister issue license to celebrate marriage, that is when the place becomes licensed place of worship.
So a place can be registered with the CAC, Corporate Affairs Commissions, and not be licensed to conduct marriages.
Definitely.
Wow,
yes.
this
Definitely,
is
yes.
getting serious.
A lot of places are like that, particularly in Nigeria. A lot of places are like that.
So how does one find out a place that is not licensed to conduct a marriage certificate ceremony? Because most people go to their place of worship, and you assume, especially the big places, you assume that this place are already registered. So how do you verify that this place does not have or has a license to conduct marriage?
Okay, I think that one is administrative. You
Okay.
just come straight forward to the leadership of the church in particular and
Okay.
request,
Okay.
are you licensed to conduct marriage? If not, then it's important you go to the registry, conduct, get yourself married, then you come and get blessed
Blessing.
in the church.
Because I got to find out that licensing is only issued by the Ministry of Interior.
Very true. Your
All right.
research is correct.
All right, all right.
That's why
Thank
I've been
you.
mentioning minister, because it's the Minister of Interior that controls that.
Okay. So that means what does the law say if my marriage takes place in a place that is not licensed to conduct marriage ceremony? It means that it is
Means
not
that
it's not legal.
It's not marriage. In fact, if you want to travel overseas, usually the developed countries, they will turn you back. If you want to go as husband and wife. But if you want to go as friends, they may allow you. But if you want to say, I am married, because marriage carries obligations. There are rights and liabilities for being married.
Yes.
So when you go to a place as married, as a couple, married, they need to see marriage certificate from registry. If they don't see the marriage certificate from registry, automatically they will disqualify you and one of you will be sent back. It has happened to several people. I have handled a personal case that I experienced that. They wanted to travel and they were just blessed in a church. They said they were married and later on they said, why is your registry? They didn't. They had to rush back and we had to go back to the registry and do the right thing.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So that the place is registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission does not guarantee that such a place a license to conduct marriages. So we have to get that. So what about the local government handling or conducting marriages?
Yes, it's beautiful. The marriage registries existing within Nigeria are all located at the local governments.
Okay.
Because marriage is a communal thing. And the law expects that it is the closest government to the people that should handle it. So it gave them mandate to conduct that. In fact, even in our locality like this Mina, where we are, if somebody wants to get married, he has to go to the local government. There's a marriage registry there.
Okay, and register.
I personally, I got married at a marriage registry under Kaduna North. So yes, local government has the power, it's legal, it's proper, and that is the right thing.
Okay.
Yes.
I stumbled on the reports that a high court in Lagos nullified all marriages that took place in a local government registry. I don't know if it's the one restricted to Lagos State or all states of the federation.
It's restricted to Lagos State. The thing with Lagos is, Lagos has always been behaving like a senior brother.
Okay.
They innovate a lot of things.
All right.
You will see that you can see even the current to sell between them and the federal government on VAT. So they always innovate things. So Lagos State has laws they made, peculiar laws
For Lagos
to regulate
State.
marriage for Lagos State.
Okay.
So you find out that that is what influenced that decision. However, that decision itself did not stand because the law empowered the registries at the local government to conduct marriage. So after some long run, they had to allow those marriages as deemed valid, and as long as the registrar signed it, it is valid.
Okay, because I even saw
Yes,
where
that Ikoyi issue. I remember
yes,
the Ikoyi issue.
where they asked those who have been married to return their
marriage
certificates for a reissuance of another certificate.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that
Lagos created that power for the High Court to conduct it. But the reality of it is that it wasn't a wrong thing. It was just that the law applied retrospectively. So it affected those that have done it already.
Okay.
However, the law is that the local government registries have power to conduct marriage, to celebrate marriage. That's why all the registries are located in most parts of Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes, with the exception of Lagos, because I told you they like doing
They
things
like
like
doing
senior
it
brothers.
like senior brothers. All right.
Yes, they will
Okay.
innovate something for others to
That's
copy.
welcome. Okay. What if I have only had a religious marriage, that is church wedding, and all the requirements of that particular faith was met, but no court wedding? Am I really married?
As long as that place is not a licensed place of worship, you are not married.
Wow.
In fact, my teacher in law school told us that you are only having church blessing on your head. That's the way he put it. He said many of you here are just having church blessings
On your head.
head.
So
But
if the place of worship is not licensed to conduct the marriage, there is nothing like marriage.
there is nothing like marriage.
You're shaking a lot of tables.
It is really a serious thing. And you hardly know the implication
Yes.
until you travel. When you go to better clients where they go thorough, then they start telling you issues that you start wondering, is it not my husband? Is it not my wife? But they say, no. You need to formalize it.
All right. So if the law does not recognize the above I've just mentioned, that means if there are chances, what are this person's chances if anything happens? The law cannot help the person.
Yes, you see, the beauty of the law is that there is something we call rebus jus ibi remedium. That while there is law, there is remedy. Now, yes, there are several provisions, several judicial decisions that can help you claim certain rights.
Okay.
Because you see, the beauty of family law is that even mere cohabitation is enough to create rights and liabilities.
Yeah.
So it's not even necessary that there was actual formalization of marriage. If Mr. A could stay under the same roof with Miss B, they are not married, but for 2-3 months, they were living like that. There are rights and obligations that arise naturally.
Okay.
Things like she can pledge his credit. She can go to the Meshai and say, give me bread. My boyfriend will come and pay. And if he doesn't pay, he will be compelled to pay. So yes, even though you may not be considered as legally married, but that doesn't totally rob you of certain rights, but it's limited.
It's limited.
When you marry, it carries legally, it carries so many advantages. If I may cite one, like under Section 30 of the Criminal Code, a husband and wife of Christian marriage, that is how the law call it, cannot commit conspiracy. Conspiracy is an offense of agreeing to commit an offense.
Yes.
But because the law consider husband and wife of a civil marriage as one, so one person cannot agree with himself. So if Mr. A is married to Mr. B under the act, then they cannot commit conspiracy. You can see one huge advantage. And that's why you see some banks will tell you they don't want husband and wife to work
In the
in
same.
there.
Yes.
The reason is, in the event they agree to commit any crime, they can't do them anything.
Okay.
So that is what is happening.
Even the Bible.
So it carries, marriage under the act carries so many advantages. Several rights arises, particularly in developed climes, where they consider things like alimony and maintenance very well. You may be an innocent young lady, somebody see you, oh, fine girl, let me marry you. He marry you. After 15 years, you have given birth to 3 children, the futures are no more there. Then he started seeing another one. And just come and say, I want to discard you. No problem. You don't want me, yet you must settle my life.
Yes.
Because you can't just abandon me at this stage.
At this
Why
stage,
will I start?
And move on. In
Why
fact,
will I start? So that's why, for an example, I read a case where the husband that was trying to divorce the woman was made to pay 51 million pounds
Wow, that is a whole lot
to
of
the
money.
woman he was sending away because he just changed his mind. So they say, since there is no ground, she didn't commit any adultery, she didn't do anything wrong, there should be exemplary money that you will pay so that you will understand that it's a human
This
life you are
one
playing
that
with.
you are playing with.
So that's an example. And there are cases where women pay also. Like all these celebrities, these artists,
Yes.
the rich ones. Sometimes they will just see a young man, they like him, and when they get tired of him, they say they want to discard him. They too will be entitled to the same maintenance and alimony. So all these things matters. So when you marry properly under the act, it gives you those advantages.
Okay.
But not every custom provides for such protection.
Yes.
Not to even mention the church.
All right. All right. So please, we want to know more about marriage license. What is marriage license? What is the difference between marriage license and marriage certificate? Because many people have fallen victim to this. They are ignorant of this, and some other people have taken advantage of them. I have a case. I've heard of a case of a woman who got married to a man. They went to the registry. According to her, she said they got to the registry and they registered their marriage, not knowing that what was issued to them was marriage license. So she went home. After about some years, about 2 years, the man decided to opt out of the marriage because he got somebody else. And he told her, when the argument came up, he told her that they were not married because he knew what the marriage license is. So he said they are not married. And when she took it up, she found out that license that was given expired 5 years ago. So I want you to explain to her what marriage is and marriage license and marriage certificate so that people will know.
Now, these things arises in situation. It's a fraud, practically. Her case is a fraud, and the registry is culpable in this, and they should be held responsible. However, when we talk of license, couples are not given license. It's certificate that comes to couples. Where license comes in is in situations whereby the minister, the governor of the state, the law says, the governor of the state can create exceptions to the procedure required for marriage, like in exigencies, in situations of hurry. People want to travel, he's a student, admission is running, and they say he can't go with his wife and all that. So in such situation, they can issue you a license. And why it makes the difference is the fact that it's not conclusive.
Okay.
You are supposed to come back
Back here.
for the completion of it and issuance of certificate.
You know, that was why I made that statement when we started, that some people abandon the process. And, you know, they suffer the consequences of their negligence for not completing the process.
Yes. So when we do that, it's dangerous. That's why it's important. And like in good registries, it's the wife they will give the certificate.
Okay.
Because as I mentioned earlier, while there are few instances of ladies misbehaving, men are at 99% of misbehavior when it comes to this issue of faithfulness, fidelity, and standing by their marriages. But of course, there are cases of ladies doing that too. Yes.
All right. So, all right. Thank you, Barrister. We are getting more light to some of these issues. Is prenuptial agreement necessary or important in marriage?
You see, I don't know how to say whether it's important or not. But this usually happens to people that are doing marriage of convenience. Okay. You know, some people, oh, that girl, she's tall, she's this, she's that. I want her for now. So I'm only bringing her in.
Because of the things.
Yes, it is like something that is being practiced in the Arabian world called muta'a.
Okay.
So most people are doing muta'a, which is called temporary marriage. So it's all about, let me enjoy something now, and forget about it later. Now, when people know that they are not down to earth with this person, you hear the issue of prenup coming in. Okay. Because usually it is not based on real love, committed love.
Yes.
It's all about, let's just hang, oh, she's a celebrity. I will be popular if I marry her.
Yes.
Oh, she is this. She is this. She will connect me to people. She's related to so-so person. She will connect me. So usually marriage of convenience is what leads people into that. However, if I may comment as a lawyer, I will say it's good because prenup is to define the extent to which rights and liabilities will exist.
Yeah.
Yes. Instead of like the man I told you paid 51 pounds, if he had had a prenup, he might have, maybe he has set it at 15 million.
Yes.
So the court will follow the prenup.
Yes.
Because we have agreed already that if something happened, I will pay her only so amount. So these are, so usually it's from rich people, and the problem is they are not sure of who they marry. A lot of people come to them for the sake of what is in their hand. Celebrities for the sake of their name. Rich people for the sake of their money. So all these things happens. So it's actually safer to do prenup. However, I don't see Christians doing that. Because like me and my wife, I don't see.
Honestly.
I'm not imagining me separating. The only possibility is the coming of Jesus or death.
Exactly.
May God give us long life. But I know one of us must die one day.
I concur too.
Thank you. So I don't even imagine it. I used to say, if my wife will take everything from me, so be it.
Yes.
Because she can take it to nowhere, but to my children.
Exactly.
So,
I love that.
That is me.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being gender friendly. We like that. All right, sir. So, still back on the back on the marriage license.
Yes.
Like there is another story of a woman who she felt during their courtship, she felt the obligations the relative imposed on the husband to be was too much. So she told him they should go for court wedding. So they agreed. So they boycotted the traditional marriage. So they ignored the parents, both the parents, the relative, and went for a court wedding. So after some years, the man passed on. When the man passed on, she put all her hope, that she hints her hope on the agreement that she had with the man, that is the court marriage. But she didn't know that the marriage was not duly registered. So the relatives of the man came in for her. They took all her properties and the rest of them. So when she appeared in the court with what she had, there was nothing to be done for her. So you see, this this marriage license and marriage certificate people need to understand, have knowledge of what it takes.
Yes. Now, that's why in everything, if you watch the procedure, if there is change in the procedure, if there is default in the procedure, then be careful. First and foremost, the first thing that they will ask you if you want to marry to get your certificate is they will ask you for consent.
Consent from the
When
parents.
you settle the issue of consent, they will now go to the issue of publication.
Okay.
Now you must publish your name within the district for a number of weeks to ensure that people pass by and see
See it.
and know. If there is any objection, people will come and tell you, this man you want to marry, he's already married to my sister now. Something like that.
Yes.
Now, another thing is, on the day of celebration of the marriage, I remember when we went to have our own solemnization, the registrar insists I must kiss my wife. I say, I don't want to. They say, you must. And they must snap you. You see the issues. Now, all these things is to stick.
To tie the knot properly.
Tomorrow, it cannot be hard from me
Yes.
that I didn't marry.
Exactly.
So that is how it is done. So when you see them jumping procedure, that's dangerous. Another thing is, we now have enough lawyers in this country. Anywhere you turn, you see a lawyer. Always seek for guidance. Particularly when the man is questionable. You know, some men are questionable.
Very, very.
Very questionable. You will just see him questionable in his things.
Yes.
You like him quite well. You want to marry him.
But there's
a question mark.
Yeah, there's something about him that you are
In
not
such a case,
too certain.
go to a lawyer privately. Tell him, sir, I want to marry. Can you? Because some people came to me. And I guided them. The lady, after the man and the woman came to me and we discussed, when they left, she turned around. She came back to me. She said, please, sir, protect me. I did out this man small. I said, I said, no problem. I carried her in my car. We went to the registry. I handed her over to the registry. I said, this lady wants genuine marriage. Please, no cutting corners.
Yes.
Let nobody come and give you money.
To cut corners.
And you will just pretend to them abracadabra
yes.
and give them nonsense paper that is not registered.
That is not registered.
Now
I think
that
so
is
many
one.
people have fallen
Yeah.
victims.
Now, I mentioned earlier that when we come to this, I will explain the fact that the law provides remedy, even though the marriage is not formal.
Okay.
Now, like what happened to this lady you cited in this case, it's unfortunate. If she has a lawyer that understands his onions, he can get her some things.
Okay.
It may not be good, but it's something at least to rely on. Now, you'll remember that I mentioned even mere cohabitation, you can claim.
You can
from
claim,
it.
yes.
Not to mention there were evidence of union. So there's also we call presumption of formality in law. That where something is done to have been formally, seen to have been formally done, no person will be allowed to say it was not done formally.
All
so
right.
if you invoke these principles of law, you can at least
Get
make
something,
a case for her
yes.
that they can compel the family. Another thing is there is something we call repugnancy rule. Even when some cultures hide under the fact that this is our practice,
This is our culture.
yes, and refuse, particularly for women, to have inheritance from her husband, there is something the court will call repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. You know, for an example, now the OSU system has been, in the Igbo land, has been declared to be repugnant to natural justice. So the court will disallow you from depriving a woman of her rights just because she didn't give birth to a boy. Because there are some bizarre imaginations in the mind of human beings
Exactly.
that they will say she didn't even give birth to. She even have girls.
She have.
But they will say because of that, she cannot inherit anything. So issues like this, the law has other means of protecting the person. But definitely it is made more difficult without marriage under the Act. Because
Okay.
if there's marriage under the Act, you are deemed to be one, and naturally certain rights and liability arises. And that's why it's good to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So what about in a situation where a man just gets to know that the children he is training or trained are not his? What does the law say?
Yes.
This time around, the women are the
Yes.
culprits.
Yes, it happens. It happens. And of recent, I've been reading, and somebody is even saying that the cases are becoming too rampant. Now, the truth of the matter is, it is up to the man. Somebody will keep the children,
Okay.
accept them, and give them room, but it's a hard sell. Normally, a man will feel slighted on two bases. One, he just got to realize that he is unable to father a child. Because if he is able to father a child, by the virtue of conjugal bliss that has been happening between he and his wife, he should have got her pregnant.
Exactly.
Now, so that the wound will shake him, and he will not be happy. Now, the existence of this first condition will infect his decision, usually, because he will say, why should I even keep other person's children when I can? But some people do close their eyes. So legally, there is no implication. You can keep the children, take care of them. After all, we adopt children. But because of the issue attached to it, the unfaithfulness attached to it, usually, the people reject the children, and actually, there's nothing the law cannot force him to take care of the children.
Okay.
The law cannot force him if it can be proved.
But if he
I
wants
think
to
morality will encourage you.
yes,
to
but
take
if he
care
wants
of
to
them.
keep the children, he can.
Yes,
He can.
That's it.
Because
You see,
the cases where the biological father of the children comes up to claim those children.
yes.
How does the law protect him?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is that if you to sire a child, it must have been you. You cannot sire a child by conduct. Yes. While you can claim from cohabitation, the man is not entitled to equal right to claim children. If the woman will come out to deny and DNA tests prove that these are not his children and somebody wants the children, particularly if the DNA tests show that they are his children, you have to let him have his children. They are not your children as a man. So, and it's usually terrible because it doesn't encourage harmony.
Honestly. All right. So the case of where you find out when a man passes on, even though you have mentioned it, but let's just still touch it. The tradition says wants the wife to be transferred to the younger brother or the elder brother so that she can be able to get property. What does the law protect
The
the woman
law
from?
protects the woman.
Okay.
That's why we said, like marriage, one of the first consent is the consent of the parties. There is no forced marriage recognized in law. The legal system doesn't recognize forced marriage. It must be consensual. I must want it. If I don't want it, then it should not happen. So as long as the woman says she doesn't want, nobody should force her. Nobody can force her.
All right.
One. Secondly, that's why I mentioned a caveat earlier that if you marry under culture, you are bound by the culture.
Yes.
Now you find out that if strictly what you did is cultural wedding, yes, you can claim certain rights in court of law. The court will protect you, but definitely not to a good extent. Why is it not to a good extent? Because the people has grounds. The people coming against you has grounds. You will only be happy if the practice is declared repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. If such, because the law recognizes customary law, but if the custom is repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience, then automatically the culture will be declared illegal, and it cannot be enforced. And it is one of it. That's why you see the cases are dropping these days. You hardly hear of it, but it's still happening.
All right. Thank you, Barrister Emmanuel. This is very, very informative. Sir, we have said a lot of things about the legality of the forms of marriages. And I know so many people will be wondering. They will have answered the question right in them. They now know if they are really married or they are cohabiting. So I want to know, is there provision for verification, or that is verifying or validating a marital status? I don't know if there is anything, because, like, for instance, if I find out there's some flaws or things that were not duly processed, that were not duly followed or completed, can I revalidate, verify and validate the said marriage?
Now I must start by saying that marriage is between two people. So if you see those signs, usually one party is not ready. Usually one party is playing game.
Okay.
Because if not because I want to play game, why should I conduct fake marriage with a lady I love? The only explanation is I am not truly into it. Now, having said that, you find out that yes, marriage, you can raise a complaint. You can raise, because just like any contract, if you realize that the party didn't sign, you can raise a concern that, okay, there is something here. However, usually it won't work out fine, because the bad person will realize that, hey, my game is up. And usually they will antagonize the situation. They will ensure that they don't give you the room to go and correct it. So, but that is what usually happens. However, ordinarily, just like any contract, you can always go and verify the documents.
Okay.
Yes. I remember when I got married, they say, we are not giving you, we are giving your wife.
Well,
keep it in your box.
just
don't
like,
let him have it.
Just like mice under my boss, and I protect it very, very well.
They told her, keep it, don't let him have it. If there's any problem, bring it here.
In fact, mine is under my box, and each time I look, I make sure I go through it. But after today's discussion, I have to go and check it properly, and also conduct a search to know if the place of worship is a licensed place, because
actually, let me explain something a little on that. You see, licensed place of worship, how they operate is that they will do the ceremony, then they will take your details and take it to the registry and obtain certificate from the registry and hand it over to you. Only thing is that instead of saying it was celebrated at marriage registry, it will say it was celebrated at so church. A license, they will not add a licensed place of worship.
Okay, because it was obtained from...
the certificate is from registry.
Okay.
It must be from the registry.
So please say that again so that I will understand.
Okay. Now, when a place is licensed to conduct, celebrate marriage, the marriage will be conducted in that church as normal as we do our church weddings. However, they will take your details and transfer it to the registry. The registry will fill it in, indicating that it was conducted as so church,
place,
a licensed place of worship.
But the certificate.
The certificate is actually from registry.
Okay.
Then they will hand it over to you.
Okay, because I'm just taking a pictorial of mine, and I found out that.
Thank you. The church will give you, but it's from the registry.
All right. Thank you so much. In fact, now I can calm down. Honestly, this is scary. You know, after being married for 16, 20 years, and by November, my marriage will be 18, and somebody will just come and tell you that you are cohabiting. It's terrible. All right, sir. Thank you so much. In fact, I'm enjoying every bit of this conversation this evening. So for those who are intending to get married, the singles, what do you have to say to them?
Yes. Caution.
All right.
Caution. Not all that glitters is gold.
God, thank you.
Not all that glitters is gold. I've seen a lot of ladies in a messed up situation. My wife is a lawyer too, so she comes with her cases. I come with my cases. We analyze them at home. Some are really pathetic. There is a case, I won't mention names. There's a case going on right now. The lady never married the man. She just came cohabit with him, gave birth to 3 children. Now the man asks her to go, and he doesn't even want her to touch the children.
Wow.
So she doesn't have the children, she doesn't have the marriage, she doesn't have anything.
Anything. She lost out big time.
Everything. Now, caution. Because when we try to ask her why, her explanation is that she thought he will. He thought he will. Let's say, no, you don't assume.
You don't assume.
No,
Exactly.
you don't assume. It's your life we are talking about. No. Be open and straightforward with any person coming close to you. Okay? What do you want? What do you want?
State it out.
Usually, there are liars. They will lie. But smartness, particularly with the help of the Holy Spirit, you will know that
Exactly.
there's something questionable about this person.
Exactly.
Even a man. Even a man can ask, what do you want? To a lady close to him. And that will help him.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister, for that word to our singles. Marriage, like you heard what Barrister just said, it's all about caution. Marriage has a process. You have to understand the process. Understanding the process is key. Be aware, be informed, have knowledge of what you are about to go in. Because if it's treated haphazardly, you will suffer the consequences. So we need to be very, very much aware. Let us not put all our efforts in preparation, my wedding gown, all sort of things, forgetting the process. When you forget the process, you suffer the consequences in the long run. Thank you, viewers, for being with us. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Next week, join us 6 p.m. next week, Monday, for another episode of The Balanced Bridge. Thank you so much.
Thank you.